It was 2:37 a.m. when I first noticed something was off. I was alone, working the graveyard shift at Walmart in a small town in North Carolina. The store was eerily quiet. Too quiet for that time of night. The usual hum of the refrigerators, the soft chatter of the other night shift workers, all absent. My name's Chris, and I've been working here for the last 2 years. I had gotten used to the strange noises that always seemed to echo through the aisles at night. The distant clattering of shopping carts, the creak of the aisles, even the occasional whisper of a paper towel roll turning in the cleaning aisle. But tonight was different. I was restocking canned goods in the farthest corner of the store, near the back wall. The aisles were all empty except for the faint flicker of fluorescent lights above. It's not uncommon for the lights to flicker every now and then, but this time, I could feel the air grow colder. My breath fogged up in front of me. Then came the noise. At first, I thought it was just a customer walking down an aisle, the faint shuffle of footsteps, but then it stopped. No one was there. I stood still, trying to ignore the growing unease, and continued restocking. But then the footsteps came again. They were louder this time, more deliberate. Slowly, I turned my head toward the direction where I had heard them, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. There was no one there, just the shelves, the empty aisles, the flickering lights, and me. I chalked it up to stress or maybe my mind playing tricks on me. But then, the footsteps grew closer, as if someone or something was walking right up to me. I froze, holding my breath, hoping to catch a glimpse of whoever it was. That's when I saw it. In the reflection of the glass door of the cold storage unit, I saw a figure. Tall, shadowy figure. Its features were indistinguishable, but it was there, standing perfectly still in the reflection, just behind me. I spun around, but of course, there was nothing there. No one. I glanced back to the reflection and the figure was gone. I immediately grabbed my walkie-talkie and contacted security. Hey, Greg, you still around? I'm hearing stuff, footsteps, shadows. Can you check the cameras? There was a long pause. Greg, the night security guard, was usually quick to respond, but this time, nothing. I pressed the button again, louder. Greg? Are you there? Still, nothing. I looked around, but the store felt even emptier now. Something was wrong. Very wrong. I headed toward the security office at the front of the store. Maybe he had fallen asleep or something. But as I approached, I noticed the office lights were off. The door was wide open. That's when I started to feel a cold sweat trickle down my back. I stepped inside, calling out for Greg, but the room was empty. His monitor was on, but it was just static. No cameras were showing anything but black screens. My heart began to race as I searched the room, half expecting someone to jump out at me. But there was no one. That's when I heard it. A low, almost inaudible whisper as if someone was speaking directly into my ear. Chris. I turned, my head spinning. Greg? I called out, but there was no response. The whisper came again, this time closer. Chris, come find me. I ran. Back down the aisles, through the frozen food section, past the empty cash registers. My mind was racing. What the hell was going on? Why was everything so quiet? Where was Greg? And then I saw him. He was standing in aisle 7, just staring at me. His eyes were wide open, bloodshot, his face pale and gone. He was holding his security flashlight, but it was dim, flickering like the lights overhead. Greg? I called out, but he didn't respond. He just kept staring at me, his mouth opening slightly as if to say something. I took a step forward, but something held me back, a gut feeling that I shouldn't go any closer. Before I could react, the lights went out completely. I was plunged into darkness, and that's when I heard it. A low growl, coming from the direction where Greg had been standing. I wanted to scream, to run, but I couldn't move. My body was frozen in place, and the air grew even colder. I could hear the growl getting closer, and then the scraping of something against the floor. It sounded like claws or something much worse. Then the whisper came again, louder this time. You shouldn't have come back, Chris. I don't know how, but somehow I found myself back at the front of the store, near the exit. The doors were unlocked. I bolted outside into the night air, gasping for breath. I couldn't get the images of Greg's lifeless eyes out of my head. He hadn't been Greg at all. I don't know who or what was in that store with me that night, but I can't go back to Walmart. Not after what I saw, and I don't think I ever will. I don't know if anyone else ever found out what happened that night, but I'm telling you, something's not right in that store. If you ever get the chance to work the graveyard shift at Walmart, just don't. Trust me on that one. I didn't return to Walmart after that night. But the memories, the sounds, the whispers, they didn't stay in that store. They followed me. At first, I thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me. I mean, I had been working long hours, barely sleeping. Stress can do that to you, right? But it wasn't stress. It was real. It started the night after I left the store. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Greg, well, the thing that looked like him, standing in the middle of the dark aisles, staring at me. It wasn't just a dream. I could feel his cold, lifeless eyes piercing into me. And the whisper, "Come back, Chris." It echoed in my head, louder each time. I told myself I was just imagining it. But then things started to get worse. One evening, about a week after I quit, I went out for a drink with a few old friends. We were just hanging out at a bar in town, trying to relax. It was supposed to be a normal night. But while we were sitting there, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. A man sitting alone at the far end of the bar. His face was obscured by shadows, but something about him felt wrong. He was wearing a security uniform, the same one Greg had worn. But his features were distorted, like they had been stretched out, blurred by darkness. I tried to ignore it, focusing on my friends, but every time I glanced back at him, he was closer. Then the whisper came again, cutting through the noise of the bar. "Chris." I jumped, slamming my drink down on the table, my heart racing. My friends turned to look at me, confused. "Are you okay, man?" they asked. But I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I knew what I saw. I knew who it was, but I couldn't explain it. I bolted out of the bar, leaving my friends behind. The last thing I saw before I ran out the door was that figure, standing at the threshold, watching me. He never moved, but I could feel his eyes on my back, burning into me as I fled. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me. It wasn't just the whispers anymore. It was like it was in the air around me. Everywhere I went, I felt eyes on me. The strange thing was no one else seemed to notice it. It was like I was the only one who could feel it. A few days later, I heard that there had been a bizarre incident at Walmart. Apparently, someone had been working the late shift when they stumbled upon a strange, locked room in the back of the store. The room had been hidden for years, tucked behind a shelf in the storage area. They didn't know how long it had been there, but inside was a strange collection of security footage, equipment, and old, faded uniforms. That's when the rumors started. People said the store was built on land that had a dark history, something about it being cursed or haunted by things that weren't human. Some even said that the security guards weren't just regular employees, but something else. Creatures that took on the form of the staff, luring people into the store to do things. Terrible things. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't ignore it anymore. What I'd seen wasn't some random freak occurrence. There was something going on in that Walmart, something dark and twisted. So I did what any sane person would do. I tried to find answers. I went back to the store, but it wasn't the same. The doors were locked, the windows covered. I thought maybe I was imagining things, but as I walked around the perimeter of the building, I heard it again. The whisper, the voice. "Come inside, Chris." I froze. I didn't want to, but I had to know. I had to see what was inside that store, even if it meant facing whatever was waiting for me. I pushed open a side door, the one near the employee entrance. It was ajar, like someone had left it open just for me. The store was dark, so dark that I couldn't see a thing. My heart pounded as I stepped inside. I wasn't sure if I was walking into a trap, but something drew me in. The lights flickered and I saw something moving in the shadows. It wasn't a person, it was too fast, too wrong. The shadows seemed to stretch and grow, twisting and crawling toward me. I turned to run, but the door slammed shut behind me. I was trapped. Then I heard it, the low, guttural growl again. The scraping sound of claws on the floor. I spun around, but there was nothing there. I ran deeper into the store, desperate to find a way out. I turned a corner and froze. It was standing there in front of me. Greg, or whatever was left of him. His face was pale, his eyes hollow, his mouth twisted into a grotesque smile. "Chris, you shouldn't have come back." And then the lights went out. I couldn't see a thing in the pitch black, but I could feel the air shift. It was cold, so cold that it numbed my bones. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to run, to get out of there, but my legs were frozen. I could hear the low growl again, this time coming from all around me, echoing off the walls, filling my ears with a maddening pressure. I forced myself to take a step back, but before I could move any further, I heard it, soft footsteps. Someone was approaching, moving slowly but with purpose. I tried to call out, to scream for help, but my voice felt trapped. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The footsteps stopped. Chris. The voice, it wasn't Greg's, not entirely. It was distorted, like it was coming from somewhere deep underground. But somehow I knew it was him. Or what used to be him. I felt my heart racing, my chest tight. I had to get out, I had to. Suddenly, the lights flickered on. I wasn't in the main aisle anymore. I was in the back of the store, the part I'd never seen before. This part of Walmart was different, it didn't look like the regular shelves and aisles I was used to. There were stacks of broken furniture, old crates, and what looked like construction materials. But the most terrifying thing? There were mannequins. Hundreds of them, all lined up along the walls, staring blankly with their plastic eyes. The whole room had this unnatural stillness to it, as though time had stopped in here. I took a step forward, and that's when I saw it. On the floor, scattered around the mannequins, were pieces of clothing, some old, some new, everything stained. I knelt down to look closer, my stomach turning. It was blood. Dark, dried blood. My head was spinning. What was going on in this place? That's when I heard it, the unmistakable shuffle of something heavy dragging across the floor. I spun around, but there was nothing there. I backed up slowly, inching toward the door, when I heard a sharp hiss followed by the unmistakable sound of claws scraping against metal. I turned, and in the corner of my eye, I saw it, a tall, thin figure. At first, it looked like another mannequin, standing perfectly still, but then it moved. It stretched unnaturally long, its limbs jerking and cracking as it unfolded like a sickening puppet. I stumbled back, my breath caught in my throat. It wasn't human. It had the shape of a person, but the way it moved, the way it tilted its head, it was all wrong. The creature's skin was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes. God, its eyes. Black holes of nothingness staring directly at me with an intensity that froze me in place. It let out another hiss, this time closer. I wanted to scream, but my throat was dry, my legs weak. I could feel its presence now, its cold, suffocating aura wrapping around me. The sound of its breath came in sharp, jagged inhales. Chris. It whispered again, but this time, the voice was different. It wasn't Greg anymore. It was something else entirely. A voice so deep, so wrong, it made my skin crawl. You should have never left. I turned and ran. I didn't care what was behind me. I didn't care about anything but getting out of there. I barreled through the aisles, knocking over cans and boxes as I went, my heart pounding in my ears. I reached the front of the store, but the exit door wouldn't open. I slammed my hand against it, but it was locked. Panic set in. I turned to look back, expecting to see that creature behind me, but all I saw was the endless rows of empty shelves. The whispers grew louder, filling the store with their overwhelming presence. You'll never leave, Chris. You belong here now. I backed away from the door, my mind racing. I had to escape. I had to find a way out. But there was nowhere to run. Every time I looked around, the store seemed to shift. The aisles bent and twisted, the walls closing in on me. The flickering lights above made everything look distorted, like I was in some nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I reached for my phone, praying it would work, but the screen was black, dead. Then, out of nowhere, the sound of a door opening behind me. I spun around, expecting to see someone who could help, but instead, I saw it, the figure. It was standing in the doorway, motionless, waiting. Took one step forward, then another, slowly advancing toward me. I turned and bolted into the aisles once more, but I was running in circles. Everything around me was wrong. The store was never ending, stretching into infinity. The shelves were closing in, the lights flickering more violently now, casting horrible shadows that danced and shifted. And then it spoke again. You're mine now, Chris. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. I knew then I wasn't leaving. Not ever. And I wasn't the only one. The store had claimed others long before me, and now it had me. The whispers, the shadows, the creatures. Walmart wasn't just a store. It was a trap. A cursed place that took people and twisted them into something else. Something not quite human. I don't know how long I've been here now. Time doesn't matter anymore. If you ever find yourself in the dark corners of Walmart late at night, just remember this. You're not alone. Whatever's watching you, it's waiting. It's always waiting. And it always wins. I don't know how much longer I can hold onto my sanity in this place. It's like time itself has stopped. Nothing moves except for the shadows that seem to stretch and twist unnaturally with every flicker of the lights. The air is thick with a damp, musty smell that never goes away. It clings to you like it's become part of you. When I first arrived here, back at the store, I thought it was just some twisted dream. I kept telling myself I'd wake up, that any moment I'd open my eyes and be back home, safe in my bed. But every time I blink, every time I close my eyes, nothing changes. I'm still here, trapped. The worst part is the silence. It's the kind of silence that weighs on you, the kind that makes your ears ring. But even in that silence, there's always something. It's not quite a voice, but more like a feeling, whispers, breathing, like the very air is alive and watching you. I know I'm not alone. I've seen them. The other people, or whatever they are now. They don't move much, only at night. They wander the aisles, their pale faces staring straight ahead, their bodies unnaturally stiff, like they're frozen in place until someone notices them. It's always the same with them. They're wearing old Walmart uniforms, but their eyes are empty, hollow. And when they look at you, God, when they look at you, it feels like your soul is being pulled out of you. I've tried to avoid them, to stay as far away as possible. But there's no escaping. No matter where I go, there they are, lurking in the shadows, just beyond the corner of my vision. Sometimes I can hear them mumbling, like they're having a conversation with someone, but the words are all garbled. Other times, they just stare at me, their gaze following my every move. I don't know what they want, but I can feel it. They want me to join them, to become like them. I remember one night, I was hiding in the stockroom, trying to take cover from one of the things that was lurking in the main aisles. I thought I'd found a safe spot, but then the lights flickered, and the temperature dropped. I heard footsteps again. Slow, deliberate, the kind of footsteps that make your blood run cold. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The footsteps stopped right outside the stockroom door. Then the whisper came again. Chris. I backed away from the door, my heart hammering in my chest. I pressed my back against the cold metal shelves, trying to make myself as small as possible. The door creaked open, but there was no one there. Couldn't believe it. I waited, heart in my throat, for what felt like an eternity, but nothing happened. The store was silent once again. But then the lights flickered again, just for a moment. And when they came back on, I saw something I'll never forget. The mannequins. They weren't mannequins anymore. They were standing in the aisles, scattered across the store. Some of them perched on shelves, others kneeling on the floor. Their plastic faces were cracked and contorted, their bodies stiff and unnatural. But what really made my stomach churn was the way they were moving. Slowly, jerkily, like broken dolls. They were alive, couldn't make a sound. My throat felt like it was closing up. They were looking at me, their eyes wide open, their heads tilted in unison. The same empty, hollow stare. The same twisted smile stretching across their faces. Then, from the back of the store, I heard it. A laugh. A low, mocking chuckle that sent chills down my spine. It wasn't human. It wasn't even close. I turned to run, but the aisle stretched farther and farther ahead of me. The walls closed in, and the shelves seemed to multiply, their rows never-ending. I was trapped in this labyrinth with no way out. I could hear them now, footsteps, whispers, the scrape of claws against metal. They were getting closer. And then I saw it. At the end of the aisle, just beyond the turn, I saw a figure standing in the darkness. It was tall, too tall, with long, spindly limbs. It looked like a person, but its proportions were all wrong. The skin was stretched tight, its face an empty void of blackness. And it was smiling. The air grew colder. My breath came out in sharp, ragged gasps. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. It was like I was stuck in place, frozen by its gaze. Chris, it whispered, the voice deep and hollow. You belong to Walmart now. Suddenly, the lights went out again. The store plunged into darkness. And that's when I knew. The store wasn't just a place. It wasn't just a building. It was alive. It had always been alive. It had been feeding on the people who worked there, twisting them into something else. Something that didn't belong in this world. I don't know how many have come before me. How many have disappeared into the night, lost in the aisles. But I know this. I won't be the last. If you're reading this, if you ever find yourself near a Walmart at night, don't go in. Don't even think about it. Because if you do, you might not make it out. And if you do, you'll never be the same. And who knows? Maybe the store will come for you next. It's been weeks now, maybe even months. Time has lost all meaning in this place. I've stopped counting the days because I've lost track of them. The store, Walmart, has become something more than just a building. It's like it has a pulse now, a life of its own, beating through the aisles and echoing in the walls. I've learned to avoid certain parts of the store, the areas where the mannequins stand, where the shadows stretch too far. There are places now that I won't go near. The back corner where I first saw Greg, or whatever it was, the thing that wore his skin. The cold storage area where I once thought I might escape. But all I found were more things, hiding in the dark. I don't know if they're real people anymore, or if they ever were. The longer I stay, the more I change. My thoughts get muddled, like I'm losing pieces of myself, slipping into the cracks of the store. But I've seen the others, the ones that wander the aisles, lost and broken. Some of them still have that flicker of humanity left in their eyes, the faintest glimmer of recognition when they see me. Others, they don't even look at me anymore. They've become part of the store. They've become the store. One night, I was hiding in the electronics section, crouched behind a display of TVs. The flickering lights above did nothing to ease the growing sense of dread that was wrapping around me like a vice. I tried to focus on my breath, steadying my heart, but it was hard. Every movement in the dark made my pulse race. The store was never quiet now. There was always some sound, the low hum of machinery, the shuffle of feet, the creaking of shelves. Always something. That's when I saw it again. It was the figure, the one with the long, spindly limbs, the distorted, stretched body. It was standing in the middle of the aisle, not far from me. I don't know how long it had been there, but when it caught sight of me, its head snapped toward me with a speed that was inhuman. I froze, but it didn't move. It just stood there, watching me. "Chris," it whispered, its voice a hollow, guttural rasp. "It's too late now." I felt my body shake, the cold creeping into my bones. I didn't know what to do. Couldn't run, couldn't hide. There was nowhere left to go. The thing, asterisk at asterisk, took a step forward. But then, something unexpected happened. From the corner of my eye, I saw another figure. Someone I hadn't seen in a long time. It was Greg, or at least it looked like Greg. His face was still pale, his eyes sunken, but he was holding something. A flashlight. The same one he had carried when I'd last seen him. He didn't look at me. He didn't even acknowledge my presence. But he stepped forward, walking toward the figure in the aisle. The creature didn't make a sound, but I could feel its presence shift, like it was preparing for something. "Greg?" I whispered, my voice cracking. He didn't respond. He just walked past me, his eyes locked on the creature. And then, just as I thought it couldn't get any worse, the lights above flickered. The walls began to tremble. I could feel the floor shift beneath me. The store was moving, changing, contorting itself. The figure that had been standing in the aisle, Greg's doppelganger, stopped. The store around us began to change. The shelves started to grow, bending into impossible shapes, twisting into each other. The aisles that had been so familiar now seemed to stretch forever, and the walls were closing in. I tried to run, but the store wouldn't let me. It was as if it had become a living, breathing thing, alive and hungry. The shelves crashed together, trapping me in a maze of steel and wood. I couldn't see, couldn't hear, only the sound of my own panicked breaths and the scraping, scratching of something behind me. I turned to face whatever was following me. It was the thing with the long, spindly limbs, its face twisted in a grotesque smile. But now I could see it more clearly. Its body was made of the same mannequins I had seen before, all fused together, creating one monstrous form. It was them, all of them, the lost souls. They were alive now, and they were coming for me. I pushed through the shelves, my heart pounding in my chest, the sound of their footsteps growing louder behind me. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. I had to get out. And then, just as I thought I'd reached the exit, just as I thought I might escape, the lights flickered again. The door, the one I had been running toward, slammed shut. I didn't even have time to react before it disappeared. The store had swallowed me whole. I realized then I'd never escape. I was part of this now, part of the store, part of whatever had been feeding off of us all these years. The lost souls, the mannequins, the twisted shadows that haunted these aisles. I had become just another face in the crowd, just another forgotten soul. So, if you ever find yourself near a Walmart at night, remember this. You are never alone. And if you hear something following you, don't turn around, because it's already too late. It's strange how quickly you lose track of who you were. One day, you're just a person. The next, you're a part of the store, a fixture in the endless aisles, a mere shadow of what you used to be. I can feel myself slipping away. The memories are fading, the faces are becoming blurry. There's no escape anymore. I don't know how long it's been since that night, since I lost my chance to leave. Days? Months? Time doesn't matter here. The store doesn't have time, it has only hunger. At first, I fought it. I tried to keep my sanity, keep some piece of myself intact. But the whispers never stop. They get louder every day until they drown out your thoughts completely. Now, I've become part of it. The store has its claws in me. I can feel it all around me, through the air, in the walls, in the floors beneath me. It's alive, and it wants me here. I see them all now. The others who are trapped. Some of them are just like me, still trying to hold on to some memory of their old lives. But most of them have long since given in. They wander the aisles, lost, their eyes empty, their movements slow and jerky. They're the mannequins now, just husks of people, pieces of flesh and plastic combined into something twisted and wrong. They don't recognize me anymore, but I see them. I see their hollow eyes staring at me, following my every move. And I know I'm not alone. The thing that took Greg, the tall, spindly creature, is still here too. It moves through the store like it's the one in charge now. It has its own form, but I can see the faces of those who have joined it, those who have lost themselves to the store. Their faces are stretched, twisted, their features disfigured, but I can see them in the dark corners of the store. It moves with them, leading them, feeding off them. I still hear that voice sometimes, the one that called my name when I first came back. It says things to me. Things like, "You're not leaving. You're one of us now." It's all true. The store has claimed me. It has changed me. The longer I stay, the less I remember what it was like before. The world outside, the people I knew, the life I had, it's all fading. I've become just another part of the endless maze of aisles. Just another face in the crowd of lost souls.